Hey everybody, it's Dogger13R coming at you with another episode. I'm going to make a couple episodes here about the Awful Panther. I had told you that I was going to make videos about the 4 German vehicles that were in that 4 German vehicle premium bundle. And here's the 3rd in that series. So we will see where we're at. And we're going to be on Panama today. Now the Awful Panther is primarily a spotting vehicle. And, you gotta assume whatever role it is that you're needed to assume at the time, but in the first part of this video, and again we're going to do a 2-part video where there's a second part at the end, so stick around after the end of this first game and see what we're talking about there. But this first method is going to be a traditional method. We're going to talk about your spacing in relation to your team. So we're going to move out and we're going to take the right hand side over here and we're going to spot everybody that's going to be down in what we call Death Valley. Now that northern spawn on this map, they always have a big group that goes down into that valley and they do nothing but die. Every time I've been on that side of the map, there's a big group of people that goes down into that valley and they all die and the team just gets absolutely wrecked. I've only played 4 games on this map and 3 of those times I spawned in the north, and we lost bad. And this is my first time on this end of the map, so I figured it'd be a good time to put a win on the board. So here we are in the Awful Panther. Now I just stopped briefly right here. I'm not really trying to spot yet, because I don't want to get detected just yet, because I can see that my support is going to be on that terrain feature right there. So I'm going to move up to this next one down the line, because I want to be in front of my support fire so that I can extend that view range, but I want to be so far that I'm spotting tanks that are either beyond their render range, the maximum distance at which they can see, or that I'm spotting tanks that are still around a corner that they don't yet have line of sight to. So I'm going to give my tanks some time to get into position. We've got a couple of TDs over there, and we've got a couple more tanks that are moving up to this terrain feature. And as soon as they hit this terrain feature, I'll again move one more terrain feature up. That way I don't get overextended and get surrounded by myself before the battle gets fully committed. Now I was going to send out a on my way, but I hit the wrong button and hit defend the base instead. I've done that a couple of times. So take it with a grain of salt if you see that. Sometimes people are trying to send a different message. So there we go, we're going to get this engagement going. Now one of the things you can do is get some flank shots. So I've got some opportunity way over here. So as you'll see, there's an M103 and a Tiger, and then I think later we're going to have a Hammer show up. So there's that Tiger 1. We'll go into sniper mode so we can see what's happening now that the game's involved. But I don't want to push too much farther forward until this area gets fully developed. There's still too many guns and there's still extra guys that could react to whatever it is we're doing. So that M103 I've decided is a priority target. My support fire's shooting down into that valley, and I can shoot this M103 while he's on the back side of that hill. And even if all I do is just keep him tracked and keep him on the back side of that hill where he doesn't have any shots, we're keeping his gun out of the game while they have time to work those other targets. And those guys on my team that are doing the real fighting, they only have to deal with these targets one at a time instead of all at once, so that they can't get mobbed. But where'd he go? There he is. So he's going to try to come back up, and we'll just try to keep him down, keep him where he's not going to be effective or have a lot of shots. Because he's got a great gun and he's got some decent armor. I'm bottom tier in this match and he's 2 tiers up, so the longer we can keep him at bay, the better. Now I can see those tanks on the other side are starting to move up, so I'm going to switch my role from just trying to keep him tracked as I've been doing, and I'll load up a little bit of APCR and see if I can't give him a couple of meaningful shots to think about. So there's my first shot of APCR, and it did indeed go through. And that one didn't. So we'll alternate there. But now that the situation down below me and across the map is pretty stabilized, now it's time to go ahead and try to move and see if we can get any flanking fire. So once again, when things start to have a lull in that position, then just make a slight adjustment. See if you can come at it from a different angle and start to get things going again. You don't want your flank or your effort to stall out. So I'm seeing if this is going to be an area where I can get some flanking fire, and I'm still looking at the front of that turret. And these guys down in the valley, I'm in front of them, so that's not going to work out. So we tried just a little bit farther forward. Now we're going to go even farther. We're still getting some spotting assist ribbons coming in, so we're still meeting our role. We're still getting something done for the team, making a contribution. And meanwhile, we'll get around behind this guy and see if we can't help finish him off. And now we're actually getting something done. So you see, we've kind of taken it in steps. We moved up to that first terrain feature. As soon as someone was there, we moved up to the next one. As soon as someone was there, we moved up to the next one. And then we had the, that engagement was pretty close. But as soon as I stopped getting spotting assist ribbons, and that battle was fully developed to where somebody else was close enough that they were spotting and everything was fixed and all of the attention was off, then I could move around to this flank shot and help come over here for the cleanup effort. So even though this was a runaway win, and they often are on this map, these were, the team really worked together solid as a team, and it's not just what I did for them, but what we all did together. And you can see that using that, we minimized their firepower while maximizing our firepower. So, it was a really good team effort, and I was happy to show this one, even though, like I say, it's just kind of an average game. But that's what we want to do here on the channel. Show you to improve your every game skills, and not just wait for those 1 in 100 games, or 1 in 50 games, or 1 in 25 games, however often they happen for you. So we still got a top 5 finish. We made a contribution. But overall, that's a pretty run-of-the-mill game. So long as you've got a team that's actually trying to take advantage of what it is that you're doing for them. And that's most of what the spotting tank role is you create opportunities for your teammates. And if you're on a team that doesn't take advantage of those, you've got to kind of look and decide, is that because I'm creating that opportunity at the wrong time? I'm too far out of position? I didn't wait till they were set? I didn't realize that the other flank had fallen and they were all going to abandon me just as I was charging out into the open? You look at that timing issue, and 9 times out of 10 you can figure out where things went wrong, and once in a great while it's just because you were on a team that just wasn't going to win no matter what you did. But here we are, it's the Awful Panther. It's actually a good little vehicle. And we're going to take a look at a second method of how I implement this vehicle, as I have grown to like it a lot. And we're on another map here. I forget what the name is. It'll come up on the map in a minute. You'll recognize it. It's got a big mining pit, but it's not mines. So what I've done here is I've moved up to about center map on the left flank. And there's 2 or 3 heavy vehicles down in that valley and a T-28 prototype that are overwatching them. With my presence here alone, since they have something to look at, they want to camp. So I'm going to give them a reason to do it. And if I can keep 3 or 4 guns out of the game, just by having my presence here alone, just a little Awful Panther with this Tier 5 gun. I've got the same gun on one of my Tier 5s, and look at that big fella. You want to just hang out and do nothing while you look at me and decide whether or not I can be dealt with? Great. The more of those guns you can keep tied up, you're keeping them out of the game. Now this guy's going to ram himself to death on me, and I actually get a kamikaze kill for this. Hey, thanks for the ribbon, buddy. Appreciate ya. So, watch for part 2 of this series, where we talk about the different kinds of ram kills. So we've got a few guys over there, and, they're mixed up, but I want to keep these guys busy and make sure that they don't get bored and go somewhere else. Let them know I'm still here, because that's really my whole purpose in this game, is just to keep those big guns out of the game and distracted long enough that our team on the other side of this map that's working up towards their cap can get into position to get it done. It's with one of those big Goronich or whatever that giant Russian thing is, a T-29 or 2 and a T-28 prototype. I've got this heavy that's moving on me now. I just want to keep them tied up long enough and distracted that they aren't able to get their guns going long enough, because they could still make quite a bit of difference towards the end of this game. So here we are on Northwest, that's what this map is called. And you can see that we kept them tied up there in that upper corner in that area. I'm letting them know that that's the way that they're coming. You know, 1 or 2 pings is appropriate. You know, 5 or 6 is not. So if you're a 5 or 6 pinger, maybe you could think about that. And we're 8-6. So we've got a 2 vehicle lead. I think at one point we were 3 vehicles to the good, but I'm not quite sure how that played out. I played this game yesterday, so I'm just recording the audio today. And so they're going to move, but look at that. They've already closed the gap. You know, we've got this Tiger 1 back here, and, you know, somebody's got to be on base guard. Let's not judge. And, but he's looking at 4-on-1, maybe 5-on-1, so things probably aren't going to go good for him, but since he's keeping them distracted. What's that? Oh, yeah, we capped out. Was that a guaranteed win? No. Were they able to cap because on the left side we kept them delayed and distracted long enough to get our work done? Absolutely. So there today we looked at, you know, a traditional spotting roll where you move up and you get some spots and then you move up again, and, you know, about how to work that timing and how to know when it's time to make that move. And in this second game we were just looking at, you know, how do you keep a superior enemy force occupied and distracted to keep their guns out of the game in a meaningful way, long enough to give your team time to do something else, and kind of take that enemy team more in bite-sized chunks rather than all at once. So when you're fighting that delaying action, just stay alive as long as you can. Keep as many people occupied as you can, and when it's your time to die, then let it be your time to die. So I hope that's good information for you.